Hi YouTube, it's Pen Paper 19. I hope everyone's been doing really well. It's been quite a while, and in the meantime I've amassed a few things, and I want to just come on and talk about it. Most of it is probably fountain pen related, because I do have a couple things that were kind of epiphanies or things that I've learned as I've been using some of these fountain pens. So I'll talk about that, but before I get into the fountain pen stuff, I wanted to talk a little bit about Ferris wheel press. This is the first time that I actually ordered directly from Ferris wheel. I did purchase an ink bottle from Wonder Pens a while ago, but this is my first experience. I went on site. I actually really love the design aesthetic, this kind of steampunk design aesthetic of Ferris wheel. I mean, this is a really good example of their fountain pen box, the balloons and things like that. It's just really pretty. I do find that the aesthetic is really nice. And let's see, so I decided to pick up a few things just to kind of test them out, and I've been using them for a while, so I will kind of talk about them. I purchased I think these were two separate things. So if I remember how this is called, this is this mustard yellow thing is called I think this is the Nothing Left Fether Folio, and it comes in this sleeve. Oh, there you go. Oh, wait. Yeah, so this is the notebook, and it came like this, and this is the Nothing Left Dock Grid notebook, and I got it in pebble gray, and you know, it's soft. It's really floppy, and it's really nice, and it has this groove here to hold this elastic, and it's just like a little notebook, exactly as you'd expect. The paper is, you know, I'm not sure what the stats are on this paper. It's a nice thick paper. I mean, it feels like, I don't know if this is, let's see, it says it's 176 dot grid pattern pages. Oh, there you go, 100 GSM paper. It is a smooth paper. It's nice. I use fountain pens on it, and I just use it to take notes. You can use it as like a daily diary. There's a place up here to write, to circle the day of the week and to put in a date, but I have a separate journal for that, so I don't need it for that. But I like this as like a just carry around with me. You can obviously use this folio as is, this notebook as is, and carry it around like this. I actually went ahead and purchased the folio that goes with it, and you can get the notebooks in different colors, and you can get folios in different colors and mix and match them. But the folio, these are both vegan leather, and what the folio lets you do, I'm just going to take this piece of paper out, is put in the notebook that they provide. And it's done in a unique way because of this closure here, like a traveler's notebook. Instead of putting this notebook in the right side of the sleeve, as you would expect in a folio, so that it then closes like this, with the elastic coming out of here and closing here like a traveler's notebook. You put the notebook in on the left side, and then what that does is allow you to close the notebook and close this way. And it's actually a pretty unique closure. I actually like that it's unique closure. This is a really smooth vegan leather. I don't remember, I think is it mustard yellow or something like that. It definitely looks like a mustard yellow. And the two sleeves are really stiff, and so it feels like there's a hard cardboard in there. It's really soft. I don't know if it actually doesn't scratch up that easily. I have been throwing it in a bag every day, and there doesn't seem to be any issues with it. And it has really nice embossing here, Ferris wheel press. Otherwise, it's just a smooth folio. The way that this is designed is, let's see, there is a flap here. I can put some paper in. It's not really, you'd have to fold it over a number of times. Here is a little pen sleeve, and in here I just put my Nakaya. Fits nicely and protects it nicely. And this here is a little sleeve, and this is meant for, let me pull one of these out, I haven't shown it yet. It's meant to put in a little, what Ferris Wheel Press calls an ink charger, which is their little ink samples, which I will say they're adorable. So you're supposed to put this in here. Actually, it's really hard to do with a pen in there. And I guess you carry this around as like an ink refill. I'm having a little bit of a difficult time. So it definitely fits. I've done it before. And there's it opens at the bottom. Then you can put your pen in here and close it up. I will say that for my purposes, I have absolutely no need to carry around an ink charger with me, especially in these last legs, hopefully last legs of the pandemic. I'm not really going anywhere where I need to carry ink around with me like this. And I'd just be too scared to carry it around in my bag like this. Excuse me. And what I do find kind of, I guess because the notebook is on the left-hand side and the right-hand side instead of the right-hand side, when you open up the notebook and you want to write on the left side of the notebook, it's actually kind of, this becomes like a trifold, and it's actually kind of awkward because now this side doesn't have a kind of a firm surface to write on. So if you're out and about, I actually find it kind of awkward to know how to write with this. I guess I can go like this. I'm not sure. It's actually kind of difficult. And I usually use it mostly at home, so it's totally fine. But it is awkward to be out and about and be writing on this left-hand side. On the right-hand side, it's totally fine. And actually what I end up having to do, just because, again, because of this trifold, I actually fold and then fold again, kind of like a sandwich. I don't care about bending things or anything like that. So I just do that. And then this is nice and compact, and then I can write. But otherwise, I find the design unique and interesting. I find that it's not as functional as the design is unique. So I like it. I use it. It is my kind of to-do brain dump, take note sort of notebook. So it's neat. I wanted to give it a shot to see what it was like. And oh, and there's a little ribbon bookmark. So yeah, that's the Nothing Left Fether Folio and Dark Red Notebook. Let's move that to the side. Then we have some ink chargers. I just want to try some ink samples. And I think Ferris Wheel Press inks are some inks that I really think are really beautiful and I really want to love. And in fact, I mean, part of it may just be the type of inks that I got. Some of them are light and beautiful, but what I have found is that a lot of them are just too light for my daily use, given that I tend to write with a finer nib. So I'll say these boxes are really adorable. They have their characteristic patterns on them. It's a magnetic little box that you can carry around. On the side it says, "Every great idea begins with a spark of imagination." And even the box inside is kind of pretty. But it is, like, it doesn't open very well, and the paper is starting to fall out. So I'm not entirely sure about the construction. But I got 3 different ink charger sets to try out. Let me see. This one is Bluegrass Velvet. I swatched these, so let me grab the ink samples themselves. So I think this one was called the Tilly palette. And you can't, the interesting thing about Ferris wheels, you can't choose your ink samples. Like, you can't create a 3 ink sample set. You kind of have to buy them in these pre-set charger sets. So this one is called the Tilly palette. And I have the BV for Bluegrass Velvet. And it's just a nice teal. I have it in a pen right now, and it's enjoyable. It's nice. I have, let's see. This one is, I think, Lady Rose, which is a really, really pretty color, but I think I would need this in I tried it in a pen, and it was too light for me. So I'd need it in maybe like a nice juicy stub, or maybe a broad. This Grape Ice Pop, oops, that's on, which I actually didn't think was going to be that interesting is actually an ink I have in my Ferris wheel press brush fountain pen, and I actually really like it. So that's that. I think in this Tilly palette, these two colors are nice and dark and are great to use. I actually think the Lady Rose, I think this one's I think this color is the most interesting, but is not that great for daily use in Japanese fine or medium fine pens, which are primarily what I use. But I think it'd be really nice to paint with them or do some inking with them, which I haven't done. So that's the Tilly palette. Let's see what this one is. This one is, okay, there we go. BCC, okay. This one is, I think, the Aria palette. And in the Aria palette, we have these three. These are actually my favorite colors. They're so, so, so pretty, but these are absolutely too light. I absolutely can't see these on paper at all. I tried, and it was just so frustrating. I had to dump the inks out and put more saturated inks in. This one is Cream of Earl. It's a truly beautiful, like a beigey color. Yeah, it's like a taupey. It has a warmth to it. This one is the Blue Cotton Candy, which I also love. I love this cool light baby blue. And the Strawberry Macaron. Again, really pretty light baby pink. Really beautiful colors that are just too light to write with. So I'm gonna have to come up with a creative solution for these or figure out a way to mix them together. This final one is called the Emma palette, and these colors feature three colors that are two that are really light and one that's really bright and vibrant, but I'm really not sure is my type of color. So anyways, this first one here is called Little Robinia, which I really, really like. It's like a really light grayish purple, which is really, really beautiful, but again, is a little light for me. I really like this Sweet Honeydew. Really, really pretty. Again, too light. And the Pink Eraser is not too light. This is nice and vibrant. And you know what? It looks like the pink erasers we would get whenever we started school, that first day of school. I really loved those brand new pink erasers that didn't have a single blemish on it. But this has almost like a salmon-y kind of coloration to it, and it's not my type of color to write with. So again, it was interesting to buy these and to see them. I think they're beautifully packaged. I'm not, out of 9 ink chargers, I really think there are only 2 that I would routinely use, the Grape Pop and the Bluegrass Velvet. The other ones are just too light. So those are the ink chargers. Let me move those to the side. Now let me talk a little bit about the fountain pens. I got 2 separate fountain pens that I wanted to chat about. The first is from Ferris Wheel Press, and this is the brush fountain pen. I got it in Sandcastle clay. It comes in this box, which truly is a beautiful box. And, I will give it to Ferris Wheel Press that the packaging is just really, really well thought out. Comes in a little velvet case with a little maple leaf. And the pen itself is really pretty, and there is a decent heft to it. I wouldn't say it's super heavy, but for the size of the pen, which is, it's not a crazy size pen, but for its size, it's a really, it has a decent weight. It's a really nice, it's like that Cream of Earl color, that ink, but it's like a taupey beigey color with just a hint of a light purple in there. This gold nut, which is what allows it to not roll. This is what gives it, at least it feels like that's what gives it its real weight. It's really nice. I think the pen itself, it has like a number 5 nib. It's pretty small. But this detailing here in the grip, which you would think would be annoying, is actually not. And it's super, super pretty and really, really nice. It is a little thin. For my hands, I think it's fine. I find that it's comfortable to use, and I don't have any issues with it. I can see it being a problem for some people, but not for myself. And in here, actually, if I could, I'll bring over a notebook here. This pen has the grape pop, the Ferris wheel press grape pop in here. And this is a steel nib. For a fine, I'd say this is pretty thick. I mean, I'm used to Japanese fountain pens, and you know, this is more like a Japanese medium for me. But it writes smoothly. There is a decent heft. It's not, I'm not quite sure how I would explain it. Like, for example, this Montegrappa Harry Potter, very heavy. It's also a whole lot bigger, of course. And I would say that this is a heavy pen. This is not what I'd call a heavy pen, but for its size, there is decent density. What I do find is every once in a while as I'm writing, just because of the way that this screws on and screws off, and the metal grip and the metal kind of nut, for some reason, this section will start to unscrew. So I do find that throughout the day when I'm writing with this pen, somehow this will start unscrewing and I'll have to screw it back on. So I am constantly rescrewing this back on. But you know, I think this is an aesthetically beautiful pen, and I enjoy having it at my desk and using it. So that is the Ferris wheel press pen. And then I jumped onto Franklin-Christoph and felt like I wanted to grab a steel nib pen, another steel nib pen. So it comes in this lovely leather pouch now, instead of a box. And I picked up, this is really beautiful. This is a Model 66. It's a desk pen. It's the Model 66 Stabilis, I think is what it's called. And it's called Purple. So combining the words pearl and purple. And it really does have, that's actually a really apropos name. It does sparkle and shimmer like a pearl in some parts, almost opalesque, and it's purple, and it's really beautiful. These pens, I've never had this Model 66, and there is a slight flattened section of this pen, and that's what allows this desk pen to not roll, because it'll stay put on that flat side. I will say that if you're like me and you just kind of use a pen and you kind of drop it, it's you can tell it's going to keep rolling because this flat section is not super pronounced. So what I do tend to find that I have to do is look for the flat part and then place it carefully down on that flat part and then let it go, and then it'll be fine. But if I just kind of leave it to do it itself, it's just not going to do it. So, but this number 6 nib is so beautiful. I mean, compare it with this one. The Franklin-Christoph is much, much bigger. It's a really nice nib. I got their SIG nib, the Franklin-Christoph SIG, which is the stub italic gradient nib, in a fine SIG. And in it, I put the Sailor Shikiori Fujisugata, which is the wisteria purple. And this is an absolutely beautiful, beautiful color. Absolutely beautiful. I love how cool it is. And I think I've decided that this type of fine type of stub is my favorite type of writing nib size and style. It gives it a little bit of interest without any effort at all. So that's this one. Now these are 2 steel pens. Now a little bit of story time here. I, have recently rediscovered a love of steel pens. I typically prefer gold nib pens, and it's because they tend to be a little springier, and I like that spring as I'm writing. But what I was watching a YouTube video from an urban sketcher. I don't remember who it was. And he mentioned that he loves to sketch with steel nib pens because they're indestructible. And of course, this shouldn't have been an aha moment, but it was a serious aha moment for me because I used to sketch in with these Copic multiliners. And what I found in my, and this is my kind of sketchbook that I use, my sketchbook journal that I use to just kind of have fun and sketch. And I found that this is cold press 100% cotton watercolor paper from Fabriano Artistico. And what I found was that the toothiness of this paper would rip up these nibs. But I just accepted it. And then the light bulb went on in my head when I heard that video, and I realized, oh right, the steel nib pens are great for this because steel is indestructible, basically. I mean, it's much sturdier than these poor fine liner pens. So I went and found the stash of steel nib pens that I'd given my son, and I took this TWSBI back. And in it I put, I think I put Diatramentus Document Ink Black in here. And now I use this to sketch in my sketchbook, and it is perfect. And I just really, once I really grasped the usefulness of stainless steel nibs in a sketching context, particularly when you have cold pressed toothy paper, I was sold, and I decided I needed to get that. So it has rediscovered a love of steel nib pens for me, and it is a different feel. But whether it's psychological or not, I do find that as I use these types of pens, I feel a little bit more carefree with them. I do feel that I'm less likely to damage them even when I'm just writing with them into more river paper. So that's just a few of the revelations and purchases that I've made over the past month or so. Before I leave, I wanted to provide a revelation that came to me, which I don't know why I didn't know this, but suffice it to say, I absolutely did not know this, and I want to just mention it here because I don't know if other people know this, but I certainly did not. So I love these Sailor mini pens. It's some of my favorite ones to collect. They're just so beautiful. These are all the Zodiac pens on the right. This is actually really hard to show, but these are the Zodiacs, and I loved collecting the Zodiacs. I collected these over a few years. You can see on the top, you can see the Zodiac signs, and I just picked them up over the years. Now, I then picked up this one, which is called Twinkle Stardust, I think. There's just beautiful kind of sparkle shimmer in the body. It's got a gold trim. I think there's actually real rodin pieces in the top. And this was, I think, the 2020 Tokyo Pen Show pen. So anyways, they look just about the same, but there is a slight difference in the heft. But anyways, for many months, I was using these pens, and I remember feeling to myself and thinking to myself, whenever I used these pens, they felt different, right? What I mean is these Zodiac mini pens and this Tokyo Pen Show mini pen, all from Bungo Box Sailor, mini ones, they felt different, and I could never quite figure it out until one day, and I just had a serious realization that for some reason it never dawned on me before, is that This nib is a bigger nib. And I had to know. This one is Twinkle Stardust is 21 karat gold, and the Zodiac pens are 14 karat. But because I never use two pens at the same time, I would never have these open at the same time. And so I'd be using them individually. And it was clear that in my hand, this one felt more substantial. This one felt a little skinnier, but I could never quite, there was just something off in my head, but I couldn't figure out what it was. And then I realized, actually, they're different size nibs. So, don't know if anybody... This is the size nib that is in the Sailor Pro Gear, not minis. What is the other one called? Not the full size, but the smaller size. Is it called small? I'm not sure, but the difference between these two nibs is the difference between these two nibs, right? The Sailor Pro Gear full size versus the slim. That's what it's called, slim, right? Or the or this difference, the 1911 S for small versus the 1911 L for large. So just thought I'd share that because that kind of rocked my world when I realized that. And it felt kind of silly, but I'm glad I realized that now because I thought I was going a little crazy because they definitely felt different to me, but I couldn't figure out why. Because size, otherwise, right, height-wise, they're basically the same. There's not that much difference. So there's actually a big difference, and this pen is amazing. Love it. Anyways, I hope everyone's having a great spring break. It's spring break for us here. And I will hopefully see you guys later. Bye.